Welcome back. It is Wednesday, December 21st in the NBA. My three favorite picks are on the way, but first, let me introduce you to my co-host, The Broom. You've been seeing a lot of him lately because this is the third sweep in the last 5 days. John Morant goes over in PRAs. Bradley Beal comes from the top rope, gets his over in points, and Jalen Brunson goes under. We are on a 15-4 run, and yes, you heard that right. We've swept the slate in 3 of the last 5 days, and I also like to bring up some other stats. Yesterday, we crossed the 200 mark for bets placed in the NBA. Our first 100 picks, we hit 62 of them, winning 23 units. Our next 100 picks, we hit 62 of them, going plus 17 units. Look, the consistency is awesome. Hopefully we can keep it going. We've made money on 8 of the last 9 slates in the NBA. We've also over the 40 unit mark on the year. It's been a great year so far. Let's keep it rolling. If you are new and this is your first time watching a video, go down below, hit that subscribe button. All the OGs, drop a like too. Thank you guys so much for 60,000 subscribers. We still got 10 more days in 2022. We still got Christmas gifts to pay for. Let's keep it rolling. And if I made you some money, consider becoming a COS All-Star. I kind of beat it into your guys' heads, but it's our YouTube membership. You get all our plays earlier, so you get the earliest lines. Definitely a lot of juice that you get to reduce. And look, it only costs $2.99 a month. Go hit the join button on the channel. Now, look, this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, who's on my shirt. Underdog, a great place to bet your player prop parlays. I'm putting a bunch of different picks they have out. They have a ton of different lines for a bunch of different guys in the NBA, but not only the NFL and a bunch of different other sports. But the best part about Underdog is if you sign up using our code COS or the link down below, you get a 100% deposit match. All of my Underdog parlay in a little bit later on in the video. But look, you deposit $10, you now have $20 to bet. You deposit $50, you got now $100. You deposit $100, you got $200. The deposit match is up to $100. Take advantage of it. We certainly would appreciate it if you sign up using code COS or the link down below. We can't do it without you guys. Now, without further ado, let's tap into our favorite plays of the day. We'll talk about an added play or two at the end. Let's dive into this first guy. You've probably heard of him. Maybe you haven't. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. His name ring a bell because we're taking his over 30.5 points, minus 115 on PointsBet. Now, if you followed the channel for a while, and I appreciate you if you have, we don't normally take a lot of these over, 30.5 point lines because a lot has to go right for SGA to get done. But SGA is a different breed. This guy can hit this over in the third quarter if it even is a blowout. And on the year, SGA has just been a wagon. I mean, he's averaging 31.3 points per game, and actually it's 31 plus points in 18 of 28 games. Now, he just played the Portland Trail Blazers, scored 35 points against them, and look, he gets them again. And while I don't necessarily know exactly who suits up for the Blazers, they got some guys on the injury report. Not too worried about it because in that game, we saw SGA only score 6 points in the first quarter, a quarter that he averages nearly 9.4 points per game. And he shot only 10 for 24 from the field. That's 41.7%. Now, he did hit a game winner to win that game, but I don't anticipate Portland changing their whole defense. Like they said, they held him to 41.7% from the field. So they played pretty well against him. He just, obviously, they scored more points than the Blazers and they won. Now, look, Josh Giddey slated to miss this game, and I don't really like to trust the Thunder with their injury reports because then Josh Giddey comes out of nowhere to start. But if Giddey does miss, that's an added bonus. Not really concerned if Giddey comes in, but in the last 4 games without Giddey this season, SGA scored 33, 24, 38, and 35 points, going over in 3 of the 4 games, averaging 24 field goal attempts, and surprisingly, only 8.3 free throw attempts. This is what you got to love about SGA. This guy's a free throw fiend. He can get to the free throw line in 14, 20 times in a game. So you're getting a lot of free points. He's shooting like 90-something% from the free throw line. So he's a really good guy at knocking down those shots. And look, SGA got a ton of help off the bench yesterday, or not yesterday, 2 days ago against the Blazers. Don't necessarily know if he gets all that help today. It's still a close spread, a high over-under. SGA has been as good as they come at putting the ball in the basket. We'll take his over, 30.5 points. I played up to 31.5 if you have to take it, or take a 30-plus points alt line SGP. Now let's move on to our second play of the day, and this one hurts me to do. Tyrese Haliburton under. Yes, you heard that right. Under 18.5 points, minus 125 on DraftKings. I did consider Haliburton under in PRAs, but I like points under the most, and I anticipate this line at least goes to 17.5, which I would play it there. And yes, I know, you might have heard me wrong, but it was an under. We're taking the under on Haliburton. Haliburton's a guy we normally only take overs on, but I really don't like this matchup for him as him and the Pacers are on the road in Boston taking on the Celtics. Now, something to monitor here is the status of Marcus Smart. He has a non-COVID illness. I don't anticipate he misses the game. Marcus Smart is a guy that normally kind of battles through everything, but if he does, it's okay. I still trust this Celtics defense to step up, and the Celtics defense has been great this year. Well, great as of late. Now, over the last 15 games, though, Celtics allowed the second fewest points per game to point guards and the fourth fewest three-pointers made to point guards. Obviously, Haliburton is the point guard for this Pacers team, and Haliburton does the majority of his damage from the three-point line. If he's not knocking down threes, he's not like a guy like SGA that's going to go out there and attempt 10 free throws. rarely gets to the free throw line. So I just don't know if he's going to score a lot of points today. If he shoots very efficiently, good for him. He's not a guy that's a high volume shooter, and Haliburton is averaging 18.8 points per game on the road. That's 1.3 fewer than at home, and he's under 18.5 points in 6 of 13 road games. He's been great this year, yet under still in almost half of his road games. And look, he's had some advantageous matchups, especially on the road against the Rockets, the Hornets, the Lakers, Nets, Timberwolves. He's taken advantage of those matchups. Good for him, but against the bad matchups, he hasn't played as good. And look, the Celtics are as well. The Celtics allow the third fewest three-pointers made in general in the league. They allow the 9th lowest three-point percentage. And Haliburton's played them last year, and he shot very efficiently from three. But I don't know if that's going to necessarily continue. And you look at Haliburton's three-point line. I also like to look at his other lines. His under 2.5 threes, which is the line's 2.5, it's minus 190. So they clearly don't expect him to knock down 3 threes, which he has something. He's knocked down 3 threes in 17 of 29 games. Yet they're very, very heavily juicing the over. I don't necessarily know they give out plus 150 winners on the daily. But look, in 12 games this season where Haliburton's gone under 2.5 threes, he's also under 18.5 points in 9 of 12 games. So if he doesn't hit three or more threes, he likely goes under this line. The Celtics 10-point favorites. They've lost 2 straight games as 10-point favorites, and I don't know if the Celtics have lost 3 straight since like last December. So I think the Celtics step up here. And losses for the Pacers, Haliburton under 18.5 points in 9 of 15 Pacer losses. So this game has blowout potential written all over it. I don't necessarily think this is a good matchup for Haliburton. Hopefully Marcus Smart plays, but if he doesn't, Brogdon and Derek White still both capable defenders. I like Haliburton. I know it hurts. Under 18.5 points, minus 125 on DraftKings. Sorry, Hallie, you made us a lot of money. You're a COS Hall of Famer, but we need you to go into the Hall of Shame tonight and go under. Now, let's move on to our next pick. It's Donovan Mitchell, over 26.5 points, minus 109 on Caesars. I really don't anticipate this line changing, but if it does, I still take 27.5. Normally, if Mitchell hits the over, he gets 28 or more points. Now, look, this is kind of a volume play here, and you'll understand why in a second, because the matchup's not great. On paper, he's taking on the Bucks, a very tough matchup, but I think the volume will be there for Mitchell. And you look at last game, everyone and their mother was on his over, and he probably should have hit. He scored 23 points, dealt with some foul trouble. I don't think he played in the last 18 minutes of the game. But today, obviously, he's taking on the Milwaukee Bucks, and at least at home. Now, look, Bucks have a great defense. No way around it. But I think that great defense impacts his teammates more so than it impacts Mitchell. Because Devin Mobley, Jared Allen, tough sledding, trying to score down below against Giannis or against Brook Lopez, even Bobby Portis. And you look at what the Bucks did to Zion Williamson. They obviously limited him a ton. CJ McCollum had a day, but Zion Williamson couldn't do much. They chucked Drew Holiday on Zion. But in my opinion, it's much easier, and this might come controversial, much easier to stop Zion than it is a guy like Donovan Mitchell. For Zion, he's not shooting threes. You know he's driving and getting to the hoop. So if you just pack the paint, he's going to have to pass the ball. That's why we saw Jonas Valanciunas drop like a 40-piece. A guy like Donovan Mitchell not only can drive and get to the hoop, he can also shoot from anywhere on the court. So it's a lot more difficult to pack the paint. You can't pack the paint against Donovan Mitchell. He's just going to spam threes on you. Or if you try to guard him up top, you could either draw some fouls or you can get to the mid-range and knock down the shots. And we've seen Mitchell have success against this Bucks team. They've played twice this year. He scored 23 and 29 points in those 2 games. And look, that was Cavaliers losing by 15 points in both those games. Mitchell over this line, 19 of 28 games played, so a very good track record. And the Cavs are favored at home despite losing both of the games versus Milwaukee by 15 or more. So they're obviously expecting Cleveland to step up here and at least be a close game. And you look at Mitchell's last 2 games, those 2 games against the Bucks, he shot 19 and 24 field goal attempts. But then you also look at his last 4 against Milwaukee, 2 of them as a member of the Jazz. He hit the over, 28, 29, 23, and 29 points. So he's played well against Milwaukee in the past, and I just think he shoots at least 20 or more times tonight, and I'm fine taking Mitchell's over if he's going to fire up 20 or more shots. I mean, he's over this line, 26.5 points in 15 of 18 games this year with 20 or more shots. So if he gets the volume, he's normally hitting this over, and last season we saw Mitchell attempt 20 or more shots in 42 games, hitting this over in 28 of 42. That's 67% of the time. I know it's a tough game matchup for him, but it's a divisional game. He should be out there 36, 38, 40 minutes, given that this is a big-time game. The Cavaliers and Bucks are right at the top of their division, so I think we're going to see Mitchell go out there, play pretty well, or at least shoot a ton. Now we're asking for him is to knock down some shots. I know Drew Holiday is a great defender, but Donovan Mitchell can get his own against anyone, and I think this is a great spot for him to shoot a ton. We're just asking him to knock down some shots. So before I talk about some added plays of my 3 plays of the day, we might have 2 added plays. Stay around for a second. Let me talk about my Underdog parlay, obviously the sponsor of the video. Look, it's just my 3 plays, keeping it simple. SGA, Haliburton, and Mitchell, all to get it done. Just put $20 on it. If it hits, it pays out $120. I'll take my chances. Thanks again to Underdog for sponsoring the video. If you want to sign up using code COS or the link down below, you get that 100% deposit match. Definitely take advantage of it. It's the top link in the description. Now let's talk about some added plays, maybe two. And we'll talk about this first one. I feel bad doing this. Jalen Brunson, under in PRAs. Look, if they put this line in the 30s, which I anticipate it to be at least 30.5, it will be on the card. I can guarantee you that. Unless the Knicks, while they do that, they announce that Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, and all these guys are out. But it's a back-to-back. I anticipate him to be out there, all the other guys. Now, I want it to be known, I do not hate Jalen Brunson. Someone said that on Twitter. I do not hate Jalen Brunson, but we are 6-0 on his props this year, 5 of them unders, one of them being an over. But I want to clear the air because I don't hate Brunson. I think he's been very good for my New York Knicks. The problem is there's a lot of different ways for him to go under. Well, we've seen that lately, and this is a terrible matchup for him against the Raptors. Now, if you saw Brunson last night, he had some success, and I watched a lot of that game. When did he have success? When they switched Moses Moody, a guy that can't move his feet too well, and Kevon Looney, two guys that can't move their feet. Brunson got to his spot, knocked down his shots. Unfortunately, against a team like the Raptors, they can switch 1 through 5, and they're fine. So they got guys like OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, all guys that can move their feet, contest shots. And while I don't know who guards Brunson in this matchup, could be Fred VanVleet, a very good defender. Could be Gary Trent Jr., who's questionable. Could even be OG Anunoby to kind of limit their number one playmaker. I don't really care. I just think Brunson has another struggle bus. I think he's tough sledding against the Raptors. We just saw them clamp up James Harden, a very good guy who has a much higher usage than Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson goes under his PRA line. Hopefully it's in the 30s, and we'll take it again. You'll see it in the pinned comment. If you see a line before I put it in the pinned comment, let me know. If it's below 30, we'll see how we feel. Now let's talk about the last and potential added play. You know where it is. It's Kevin Durant, 25 plus points, and Kyrie Irving, 20 plus points. It's the same game parlay. We'll be on FanDuel, maybe on DraftKings. Now, I'd probably play this if the juice is minus 135 or lower. The problem is, I don't know if it's going to be. I mean, the last time we took it, it cashed in the third quarter. And I don't know if it will be less juice than that, but they are at home taking on the Warriors. And while a lot of people are out for the Warriors, I think the Warriors can be competitive in this game because I anticipate no one to be on the Warriors spread, especially not after getting blown out by 30 yesterday. But I think this Warriors team is capable of keeping it close. And I don't really think a Nets team is capable of blowing out teams without KD and Kyrie cooking. So we'll add the same game parlay, potentially check the pinned comment like that Brunson one. I think these are the only two plays we might add. I'm pretty busy later on today, so I don't really know if I'll add any other plays, have time to research the card, but I love both of these, and you obviously know why. In the 22 games with each other, Durant, 25 plus points in 19 of 22 games with Kyrie this year. Kyrie Irving, 20 plus points in 18 of 22 with Kevin Durant. So the proof's in the pudding. Should be a high-scoring game. We just have to hope that these lines aren't too juiced. Maybe they lower the line, well, not lower the lines, keep them where they were last game because they think it might be a blowout. I don't think it necessarily is, but as we've seen before, this can cash in the third quarter. Heck, Kevin Durant scored 26 points in a quarter. So it's anything's possible. We'll see if we add that play. That would be potential for 5 plays. We would have the 3. We'd have Donovan Mitchell's over. We'd have SGA's over. And then Haliburton's under. And then potential for Jalen Brunson to make his PRA line in the 30s. And then a potential for that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving same game parlay. Check that pinned comment just for any, if maybe. I'll at least update you if I'm playing it or not playing it. But we'll see once we get lines. Maybe a little later on this morning. But those are my favorite plays. Time to shout out some COS All-Stars. If you want to become an All-Star, go hit the join button. We have a longer video than normal. We're at 13 minutes. Let's get through these names. Also, shout out to the person that said to sign up using terrible, confusing names. That comment, not appreciated. Let's dive into these ones. We got Ace Boogie. We got Katrina. We got Step Back Entertainment. Javier. We got Mr. Shownuff. We got Lulu. We got Latasha. We got Ephraim, definitely butchered that. Rosama, Big Lada, don't know what's going on here. Hideki, Nenny, Josh, Nick, Christopher, Jaya, definitely butchered that. Davin, Ayo, I can't, I'm sorry. Eric, Wild Will, Felix, Palencia, we got Erica, we got Floyd, we got Over the World, Family Overall, Entertainment, Official Page, Anthony, Steven, Sean, Don, Charles, D, Mateo, Eddie, Conversation with Al, Serena, Lane, Jill, Brian, Dave, Steven, Bombs Deep, Mason, Dawson, Jeff, 2 Jeffs in a row. That's awesome. Masuno, TC Evan, we got Sizzle P, Vooby, Bitsy, Henny with the smiley face. That's probably how you're feeling after the Henny. And Jordan. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the real MVPs. We'll have a Jets versus Jaguars Thursday Night Football video later on tonight. Stay tuned for that. We're 9-1 in the NFL last week. Let's keep it rolling. Who says no? Bring out the broom again. I'll see you guys back in. Obviously, check that pinned comment for any added plays. Have a great Wednesday. We got some Christmas gifts to pay for still. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.